Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing. We are pleased to have Sonny Searles with us today. Mr. Searles will sign the ceremony for the benefit of the hearing impaired. Pastor Jack Otteson will deliver the invocation. Pastor Otteson.
Shall we pray? O God, source of eternal wisdom, we come with thanks to recognize goals achieved, tasks completed, and the commencement of a new stage of life for these graduates. Grant them grace to see the highest calling of work to be service to you and to others. Give them the satisfaction of the fulfillment of a job well done. We ask this in your blessed and holy name. Amen.
Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Embry-Riddle's Fall 1998 graduation ceremony. It is a great pleasure to welcome the families and friends of the graduates, community friends, and our distinguished guests to the most important and probably the most anticipated event on our academic calendar, graduation. Now I'm pleased to introduce the President of Embry-Riddle, Dr. George Ebbs. President Ebbs.
Good morning to all of you. This is a wonderful day. This marks, like for many of you, my first graduation at Embry-Riddle as well. And I'm pleased and privileged to be part of it. I wish to thank all of you parents, spouses, children, all of you who have given us the benefit of these marvelous students over the past 2, 3, 4, and sometimes 5 years. It's been great to have them, and they're going to do us all great credit as they move forward into new careers. I'd like to talk about someone we've invited today who's very important to this industry. Stephen F. Udvar-Hazy, the inventor of the aircraft operating lease. Yes, the aircraft operating lease, a financial instrument, not an airplane, not a piece of technology, but the inventor of the aircraft operating lease and the president and chief executive officer of International Lease Finance Corporation. This company is the leading international leasing and remarketer of new generation commercial jet aircraft to airlines around the world. ILFC, as it's commonly known, owns more than 400 aircraft valued at more than $18 billion. Under Steve's leadership, ILFC has become the largest aircraft lessor in the world, measured by fleet value. ILFC's fleet is the most modern in the world, with an average age of less than 4 years. Steve's family came to the United States in 1958, fleeing the Soviet occupation of Hungary. He found early success in his adopted homeland. In 1966, while attending the University of California at Los Angeles, Steve formed Airlines System Research Consultants, a firm specializing in airline route and fleet planning analysis. His first clients included Aer Lingus and Air New Zealand. I found out, as a matter of fact, that he didn't walk in his commencement either. He was too busy working for Aer Lingus on that particular day. In 1973, Steve and two partners formed Interlease Group Incorporated, which is now known as International Lease Finance Corporation. ILFC went public in 1983 with $220 million in revenues and an $8 million profit. Since 1990, ILFC has been a wholly owned subsidiary of American International Corporation, the leading international insurance company worldwide. Steve has an FAA airline transport pilot license. He's jet qualified and holds current type ratings in Gulfstreams, Learjets, and Citations. In fact, he's flown just about every commercial aircraft as well. And he is captain of ILFC's corporate Gulfstream 4 aircraft. He is chairman of the Board of Trustees of Carlthorpe School in Los Angeles and serves on the boards of directors of SkyWest Airlines and several other corporations and charitable foundations. Steve holds a bachelor's degree in economics from UCLA. He is also a graduate of the airline management course at Stanford Graduate School of Business. Please join me in welcoming Steve Haase to our campus.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, President Epps, students, faculty, distinguished guests. It's indeed a great pleasure to be here this morning. For those of you that are graduating today, I convey to you congratulations on behalf of your faculty, your fellow students, your families, and loved ones. Every graduate whom we honor has accomplished an important milestone in his or her life, which began with the goal that you set several years back, and that was a conscious decision to attend and graduate from this university. I've always believed that the attainment of a goal is only worthwhile if we set new, far-reaching, more ambitious, and higher goals for ourselves. Graduation in itself is not really a self-fulfilling goal, but actually a milestone or a stepping stone to a new set of personal objectives and career enhancements. In a way, graduation reminds me of a man who, after drifting for a long time on a powerless boat, finally lands on a bountiful new continent with multiple and endless opportunities to explore and prosper. Your diploma that you'll be receiving today is a powerful weapon added to your intellectual arsenal with which each person being honored here today can vigorously attack and confront the challenges of a global world and make your mark as a positive, creative, professional contributor as we collectively prepare our planet to enter the 21st century. In the 1970s, when many of you were born, America was in a moral and economic recovery from a controversial war in Vietnam, which left our nation searching for a new identity and a new position of world leadership. Not long before that, in 1969, we sent our astronauts to walk on the moon. And as Neil Armstrong so profoundly said, we took a giant step for mankind. The truth is that when most of you were born, our country was in a stall recovery from a steep decline in self-esteem, in the drop of national self-confidence, and it was confronted with an emptiness of our national spirit. The deep scars of Vietnam, Watergate, the proliferation of drugs, the unpopularity of the military draft, the 1973 Arab oil embargo, the impotence of U.S. foreign policy in places like Lebanon, Iran, and Latin America left this nation void and searching for worthwhile causes. On the other hand, the 1980s brought us a new environment where through the electronic media, satellites, jet airplanes, our world became smaller and smaller, and traditional national boundaries faded as the age of global television, cable vision, faxes, instant telecasts of events taking place around the world were beamed into millions of households worldwide. Then came the 1990s, which brought the full dimension of the computer age into our daily lives. Hence, our access to information today is far superior than ever before. But let us step back nearly 500 years ago and trace how the birth of socialist ideals has gone to full circle in shaping the world events today. In the book Utopia, written by an Englishman called Sir Thomas More, published in 1516, he said, quote, "Our age and future ages will have this history as a precious source." Now remember that in the 15th century, Europe then thrived as the primary center of world civilization and was going through a major transformation called a Renaissance. The concept of socialism and the theory of an economic system based on a fair and just allocation of resources, where people would equally share the wealth of a wide community, more commonly known as communism, was born as a framework nearly 500 years ago. The author writes that under such a system of economic and social utopia, quote, "It is not possible for all things to be well unless all men are good, which I think will not yet be these for many good years." Keep in mind that these concepts were debated around the year 1500 among European intellectuals. Sir Thomas's life ended in the Tower of London, where he was beheaded by order of an unappreciative English king. Utopia continues today as an elusive goal, as in our minds we constantly continue to create the ideal worlds of our own. If only humanity would cooperate in understanding how much better life would be, if only men and women could work together to make this an ideal planet. The political and social experiment, which we nowadays call communism, was first implemented as a result of the victory of the Russian Revolution in 1917. After culmination of a 400-year failure of a royal system of kings, queens, rulers, and czars, which failed to keep pace with democracy and the successful Industrial Revolution of North America. In fact, what happened is that the United States, beginning in the late 18th and 19th centuries, overtook the antiquated European society in terms of economic and social progress. And by the late 1800s, there was a significant difference between the development posture of North America versus Europe. In fact, there was a major migration coming from Europe to the Americas. It wasn't the other way. The United States overtook the antiquated European society, and during the first half of the century, communism and socialism was claimed by their leaders to be the universal remedy of the Eastern world for solving the inequities of the earth. But after more than 70 years of trial and error, the wrongful death of tens of millions of innocent citizens, 2 world wars, communism lacked 2 essential elements for success. As Thomas More wrote in Utopia, all men must be good for utopia to work. And secondly, at an early stage, communism in Russia embraced atheism as one of its fundamental doctrines. Ladies and gentlemen, without good men and women and the belief in God accompanied by personal, cultural, and religious liberties, all political and social systems are doomed. History has shown this to be true. Since that great Russian Revolution of 1917, in little more than 80 years, which is the equivalent of the average lifespan of an American citizen today, communism, socialism, and its oppressive totalitarian governments are choking to death. These systems forgot that the cornerstone of a successful society is the free individual, and not a collection of faceless human beings assigned a Secret Service police code for the convenience of the state. The failure of communism is a great lesson for all of us, and for all of you that have grown up in the past 20 years. It is a mind-boggling lesson that governments are really powerless against the ultimate will of the people, and that our country will only succeed if young people are allowed to live and be allowed the opportunities to realize their goals and dreams in a society that embraces democratic and just principles for all of its citizens. This decade of the 1990s has brought profound changes to our world. Who could have imagined that within the span of less than 3 years, the Iron Curtain, the Berlin Wall, which has been protected by the great Soviet military machine, would crumble under the exodus of thousands of young and idealistic men and women who received a glimpse of prosperity and freedom from Western Europe. What college or university history, political science, or international relations textbook could have predicted 10 years ago that the Western world would see communism fail miserably as a viable economic or political system? A system whose ideology governed more than 1/3 of our planet's population only a few years ago. When I was a young boy hiding behind the barricades in the battle-torn streets of Budapest in 1956 and watched the Russian army red tanks overpower a freedom-hungry tiny nation, which I knew as my motherland of Hungary, I felt that someday the strength and spirit of liberty would rival the might of gunpowder and tyranny. For many years I became skeptical as I watched America blunder and communist inroads were made in places like Cuba, Nicaragua, and Afghanistan. But in the final analysis, history again asserted itself and taught us a very valuable lesson. Isn't it ironic today that the Soviet Empire has virtually disintegrated and is now the economic and political basket case of the world, badly in need of US and European financial assistance? But in reality, the communist empires of the world have crumbled because empty promises and ideology cannot satisfy the hunger and deprivation of hundreds of millions of Russian and East European citizens who saw no future for their children after helplessly watching more than 50 years of economic suffocation since the end of World War II. This is a system that deprived people of their basic human rights to choose from right or wrong, deprived them of the right to worship, and the right to pursue their goals and talents. A system which deprived them of fulfilling their hopes and dreams could not flourish and survive in the modern world we live today. Let us not take for granted the basic human freedoms and liberties you enjoy in America. I've often been accused of being a rebel or an instigator of controversy, but I believe that the biggest mistake you graduates can make now is to become passive or complacent, thinking that it's graduation time, what a relief, and half school completed. The biggest favor you can do for yourself is to stir up your imagination and take a correct and accurate reading of your dreams and aspirations. The more challenging, the more distant those dreams and goals appear today, the more likely they're worthwhile objectives to aim for. I can attest to you that you'll have more fun on your way to reaching them than those of you who will settle for mediocrity and the easy, no-brainer goals. I ask you to reach out beyond your community, beyond Florida, beyond imaginary barriers you may set on your minds. The opportunities out there are staggering, but fear not the challenges. I ask each and every one of you to magnify your positive attitudes and set aside pessimism. Reach out with confidence and enthusiasm and a positive sense about your abilities and energies to succeed. The young men and women who will shape the next century have talents, gifts, and tools unsurpassed by any previous generation, particularly in the field of aviation and aerospace. Through this ever-flowing fountain of new knowledge and education, which we call Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, a tradition of academic and aviation spirit and excellence has been established. We've noted with great pride and admiration the superior achievement of many individuals who graduated from this distinguished institution. I'm honored to personally know and have learned from several great alumni who emerged from their humble beginnings at Embry-Riddle. There are some of you graduating in the class of 1998 who will return to address the graduating class of 2010 and maybe the year 2020. The next 20 years will prove to be as exciting, unpredictable, and dramatic in the history of the world as the eventful 1980s and 1990s. Please do not fear the unknown, but step forward with great expectations. Reach out for what appear to be elusive and worthwhile goals. Try to set for yourselves even higher levels of achievement. Cast aside your handicaps. Build upon your strengths and overcome obstacles one by one. Do not allow yourselves to be discouraged or passive. And remember that your best defense is a powerful and well-executed offense. This nation has given me and my family boundless opportunities. I was a poor, disenchanted teenager in New York without any command of the English language in the summer of 1958. The Las Vegas odd makers certainly would have had the odds stacked against me. I went from the bottom of my class to the top of my class in less than a year, not because I was any more gifted than my classmates, but because I had the burning desire to excel and not disappoint my 36 classmates back in Hungary, who I left behind in an oppressed communist Eastern European country, and those kids were not as lucky. They could not get out to freedom in the late 1950s. All of you that are here today are very fortunate. This university has given you tools and skills which will sharpen and magnify your individual capabilities and enter further arenas of graduate education and the enchanting world of aviation and aerospace. The aviation spirit and our fascination with flight is the common denominator which brings us all together here today. We celebrate your accomplishments and those of all the graduates and faculty that are here today. The magnetism of aviation and aerospace is a powerful driving force. It builds our ambitions, our hunger, and desire to learn and become proficient in this exciting field. You're extremely fortunate to have attended a university which carried the theme of aviation and flight into your everyday lives. It is difficult not to be motivated on a campus in Daytona Beach, Florida, located right next to an airport. I want every one of you to succeed in your professional careers, because for every one of you wearing your graduation outfits today, there are thousands and thousands of decent young men and women out there in the world who are starving, uneducated, deprived of opportunities, freedoms, and the ability to travel. Aristotle, the great Greek philosopher, wrote in a book called On Man in the Universe, quote, "Education is a labor for life which will make us courageous." In other words, we must never stop seeking to further our education. You are a very privileged group, the fall 1998 graduating class of Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. And many of you probably do not even realize how lucky you are. Each of you has a powerful weapon, your brain, to take you far and beyond your present comprehension. Have the courage to apply what you've learned and continue to search for more knowledge and the pursuit of excellence. This precious resource, your mind, has magical powers to help conquer many of mankind's greatest challenges. The seeds for your success have been laid. Now that you're graduating, harvest time will soon begin. My sincere wish is extended to all of you, and I humbly hope that these remarks, in a small way, will guide you so that you may fulfill your dreams and ideals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hazy, for your kind and inspiring words to all of our graduates. We have you back at the podium. I'd I'd like to ask Mr. Ed Bavaria, Embry-Riddle's Board of Trustees, to join us for a special presentation. The bestowing of an honorary degree by a university entails a very deliberate decision-making process through which individuals are identified who exhibit leadership, impart knowledge, support the university, and serve as role models for their peers as well as for future generations. Steve Haase is such an individual. We wish to honor him for his commitment to corporate excellence and for his significant efforts in the worldwide promotion of aviation. Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University proudly presents to you Stephen Haase, an honorary doctorate in aviation business administration.
By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, and on the recommendation of the faculty, I hereby confer on you, Stephen F. Udvar Haase, the degree of Doctor of Aviation Business Administration, honoris causa, with all of the rights, privileges, honors, and responsibilities appertaining thereto.
We're also fortunate to have with us an individual who's been a dedicated leader in computer technology industry for 45 years. We wish to formally recognize Watts S. Humphrey, Fellow of the Software Engineering Institute of Carnegie Mellon University. We honor Watts not only for his innovative ideas that have helped shape the software engineering curriculum at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, but also for his frequent visits to the campus and as a mentor to many of our faculty and students in the university's Department of Computing and Mathematics. Mr. Humphrey, will you please join us at the podium?
Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University is proud to confer on you, Watts S. Humphrey, the degree of Doctor of Software Engineering, honoris causa, with all of the rights, privileges, honors, and responsibilities appertaining thereto.
At this time, it's my pleasure to recognize several distinguished groups of students. First, Embry-Riddle is fortunate to have several Armed Forces commissioning programs. Our Air Force ROTC detachment is one of the best in the nation and has the largest elective enrollment of any civilian institution in the country. Our Army ROTC detachment is constantly rated at the top 2% in the entire nation. Some of our students also join the Navy and the Marine Corps through our off-campus programs. We're extremely proud of our graduates who've become the newest first and second lieutenants in our nation's armed forces. Will the new lieutenants please stand at this time to be recognized? Continuing our recognition of special achievements, we wish to present the graduates who are completing their degrees with honors. They will be recognized individually when their names are announced as they cross the stage to receive their diplomas. As a group, though, graduates wearing white cords have achieved grade point averages of between 3.5 and 3.69 and are graduating cum laude with honors. Will these students please stand and be recognized? Graduates wearing red cords have achieved grade point averages of between 3.7 and 3.89 and are graduating magna cum laude with great honors. Will these students please stand and be recognized? Please be seated. Graduates wearing gold cords have earned a grade point average of between 3.9 and 4.0 and are graduating summa cum laude with highest honors. Will these students please stand and be recognized? Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Jeffrey Ledowitz, Vice President of Student Life, for a special presentation. Dr. Ledowitz.
Each commencement, an outstanding graduating senior is selected to receive the President's Award. Candidates for this award of distinction are selected on the basis of academic excellence, campus activities, and contributions to the university and to the local community. These students are leaders who challenge others around them to think, to question, and to act, and are recommended by representatives of the faculty, the staff, and the student body. Nomination for this honor reflects campus-wide recognition of outstanding accomplishments. Settling on a list of finalists was difficult, and selecting a recipient means to deny some of our most finest students the recognition they too should receive. At the very least, we would like to have the 5 finalists stand and be presented to you. They represent the very best we have at Embry-Riddle. They are Stuart Craig, Business Administration; Gregory Kaplan, Aeronautical Science; Megan Kruger, Aeronautical Science; John Lake, Computer Science; Ole Kale Moakofi, Aerospace Studies. Now, President Ebbs, will you please join me at the podium to announce this year's recipient of the President's Award.
I'm very pleased today to announce the senior who's receiving the President's Award. John M. Link, will you please come forward? John M. Link is graduating today with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, summa cum laude, and a cumulative grade point average of 3.93. John's been an active participant and distinguished student leader throughout his Embry-Riddle experience. He's been on the Dean's List each semester since he first enrolled in the university. His honors, recognition, and awards are numerous. He's a charter member of Upsilon Phi Epsilon, the Computer Science Honorary Society. He was elected vice president of this senior class. He's a member of Lambda Chi Alpha fraternity. We knew that was coming. Where he served as a member of the executive committee and was scholarship chairman. He's also been a volunteer with Volusia County on the Aging and Habitat for Humanity. John's been a camp counselor for the last 5 years with the Boy Scouts of America. John has worked as a tutor and a grader for the Computer Science Department and was a programmer for the Jack Hunt Memorial Library Media Services, where he designed and implemented an inventory and flight safety tracking database system. He has earned the Computer Science Department Senior Class Excellence Award. In addition, John has earned numerous scholarships for his academic achievements and has also worked as a visual software engineer with a local software simulation company. You begin to wonder how he had time to come to school. John will start the Masters of Software Engineering degree here at Embry-Riddle next month. John Link clearly exemplifies a well-rounded, exceptional Embry-Riddle student and leader. I am pleased to recognize his many academic, professional, and community achievements by presenting him with this award. Congratulations, John.
It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the president of the senior class, Robert Johnson. Robert?
Good morning. I'd like to welcome the faculty, the staff, distinguished guests, family, and students. Here we are, finally. I've been dreading this speech for quite some time now. But here I am, and the only piece of advice I can seem to remember is, Rob, this better be good. So I've decided to tell you a story, and I hope you can use your imaginations with me, and I hope I make you proud. The story begins on an early summer morning, towards the end of August, with a young man, or young woman, whichever you prefer. He stands in his driveway and kisses his parents goodbye, for he is starting his life, leaving home, going away to college. He stands strong, confident, and proud as he steps in the car and pulls out of the driveway. But a tear begins to well in his eye, and a sad, nervous fear begins to swell in his chest. As he drives away, and his home becomes smaller and smaller, in the rearview mirror, the emotion overtakes him, and he begins to weep. But the road winds on, and the nervous fear is replaced by a nervous excitement, until finally he arrives at school. He meets new friends. He meets a girl. He misses home, but he's happy. He learns about school, aerodynamics, physics, economics, and computers. He learns about love, of friends, his girlfriend, his family. He learns about hate, aerodynamics, physics, economics. He's also learned that even though he never seemed to have enough money to eat or pay rent, he could always find enough to have a beer with his friends. He's on top of the world, standing strong, confident, and proud. Then almost suddenly, as if watching his own bad dream, his life takes a turn. Someone very close to him dies. His grades begin to drop. He loses his girlfriend, and he misses home. He does not feel strong. His confidence has wavered, and he's not sure what to be proud of. He is at an all-time low in his life. But all is not lost. His family and friends are there, and they help him through. And slowly, his grades turn around, and he is closer than ever to his loved ones. He has learned so much, and everything else along the way doesn't seem quite so bad. And as he sits in this room today, he smiles. He smiles knowing what he has accomplished and what he has learned. Sure, he's learned the math, the physics, the bookwork, but that's not what he's thinking about now, and that's not what he's going to remember about college. He's going to remember what he's learned about life. The friends, the loves, the hardships, and of course the parties. He may not have learned exactly what he wants, but more importantly, what he doesn't. So as he sits in this room today, he is strong. He is confident. And he sure as hell is proud, because he has graduated. Classmates, friends, we are strong. We are confident. And we are proud. We are the fall class of 1998, and damn it, we have graduated.
Thank you, Robert. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we wish to honor 5 faculty members who recently retired after many years of service to the university and to our students. Will Professors Otis, Treby, Wenzel, and Weatherford please join me at the podium, and will Professor McLemore, who is seated with the faculty, please stand. Professor Mary McLemore has been a dedicated member of the Humanities and Social Sciences Department and of the greater university community for 28 years. Approximately 7,000 Embry-Riddle students have benefited from her focused, dignified, and committed teaching in her writing, literature, and speech communications courses. Likewise, the faculty profited from her experience, her insistence on professionalism, and her high standards for our students. Outside the classroom, Professor McLemore was active in departmental governance, took on responsibilities related to assessment, planning, and policy, curricula development, and faculty appointment, promotion, and tenure. Her research and publications in the field of nonverbal communication have received national recognition. She served on many campus committees over the years, both as a member and chair. Beyond the university, Dr. McLemore has been consistently involved in the larger community as a member of the Daytona Beach Library Board for 26 years and as a member of the London Symphony Orchestra Guild and Hospitality Committee, and as a volunteer for various charitable organizations such as Halifax Urban Ministries, the Easter Seal Society, and I Care, to name a few. Professor McLemore, on the recommendation of the faculty and in recognition of your significant contributions to the university, the President has appointed you Professor Emeritus. Congratulations. Professor Otis, come up here. When he retired at the end of the summer 1998 semester, Professor Charles Otis had completed 25 years of distinguished service in the Aviation Maintenance Technology Department. During those years, he developed the premier gas turbine engine instructional program in the country. This program affords students the opportunity of working on operational engines, performing overhaul procedures, and then testing their engines in an advanced turbine engine test cell. With the help of students, Professor Otis designed and built all of the specialized equipment used in the turbine engine lab and at the engine test cells, and he managed the program while maintaining a completely safe environment. Mr. Otis served his department and the campus on numerous committees and co-authored the curriculum, which became the foundation for our extended campus program. He expected a great deal from the people around him, be it students, staff, or other faculty members. Among his peers, the phrase that is most often used to describe Charles Otis is, he is a true professional and a class act. Professor Otis, on the recommendation of the faculty and in recognition of your significant contributions to the university, the President has appointed you Professor Emeritus. Professor Weatherford. Stand up. Professor Philip A. Weatherford retired this summer after 25 years of distinguished service to the university and to the Business Administration Department. During these years, he served in a variety of capacities. In addition to his teaching, scholarship, and service, Dr. Weatherford served in many administrative roles, assisting the department in shaping its landscape of curriculum offerings. As an undergraduate and graduate program coordinator and as acting department chair, He was influential in the academic experience of many students and alumni. He mentored the faculty and has been their confidant and advisor. His insight will be missed. In addition to his services to the department, he served the university and the faculty senate in many roles as a senator and member and chairperson of Senate committees, including the Appointment and Promotion Committee, the Faculty Handbook Committee, tenure committees, and curriculum committees, to name just the most recent one. Professor Weatherford, on the recommendation of the faculty and in recognition of your significant contributions to the university, the President has appointed you Professor Emeritus. During his tenure with Embry-Riddle, Professor Wenzel established himself as the senior weather expert and educator in the Central Florida area and brought credit and distinction to himself and to the university through his involvement with his students, the university, the community, and the aviation industry. He is responsible for establishing Embry-Riddle's highly successful and nationally recognized weather lab and for numerous articles and lectures delivered locally and nationally on topics of national and international interest regarding weather and its impact on aviation and on the Florida community. Professor Wenzel, on the recommendation of the faculty and in recognition of your significant contributions to the university, the President has appointed you Professor Emeritus. Professor Treby. Professor Shannon Treby joined the faculty in 1981 after completing 28 years of significant aviation leadership experience in the United States Navy. From the very beginning, he used that experience to set a standard for teaching and service here at the university, helping his faculty learn and become better teachers. During his 18 years with the department, he has been consistently singled out for special recognition by his students as one of the most effective teachers in the department, and was repeatedly the recipient of the Outstanding Faculty Member Award. He was one of the first representatives from the academic community to become actively involved with the National Business Aircraft Association and used his contacts with that organization to create a strong airport operations and development course of study. His commitment to the university, along with his unique brand of leadership, led the faculty and administration to choose him to serve as the department chair for the Aeronautical Science Department in 1994. During that service, he put in place a foundation for the department to develop into its current position of aviation education prominence. Professor Treby, on the recommendation of the faculty and in recognition of your significant contributions to the university, the President has appointed you Professor Emeritus. Mr. President, at this time, the faculty of the Daytona Beach campus is pleased to present the candidates for graduate degrees.
The candidates will be hooded by Professors Charles Richardson and Tim Brady. Abdul Nasser Isa Amwala with distinction. Samir Al-Zayani with distinction. Sarosh Bahati. Matthew Duke Hedrick. Craig Stephen Morse. Stefanos Nikolos Domahadais. Candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Aerospace Engineering. The candidates will be hooded by Professors Alan Ormsby and Tej Gupta. Christopher Lee Rovick, Sigma Gamma Tau. Samuel Gordon Vaughn III, Sigma Gamma Tau. Candidates for the degree of Master of Aerospace Engineering. Jeffrey Bruce Allen. Mark Todd Harris. Kevin Walter Lobo, with distinction. Samir Raymond. Gocha Chochua, with distinction. Candidates for the degree of Master of Business Administration in Aviation. The candidates will be hooded by Professor Donna Rhodes.
I'll do that.
Oh, and Abe Haraff. Bijan Amirali Faisal. Tehmina Kazmi. Joan C. Lang. Christine S. Obricki. Samir Patel. Candidates for the degree of Master of Software Engineering. The candidates will be hooded by Professors Thomas Hilburn and Masoud Tahinashad. Stephen A. Duquette. Thomas J. Morrow. Paradagruj Rajanadram. Khalil Sakat.
Mr. President, now I introduce Leon Flancher, Vice President of the Extended Campus, to present the Extended Campus candidates for master's degrees. Dr. Flancher.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Extended Campus oversees residence centers in the United States and throughout the world. We are pleased to have a number of our students and our faculty here today to participate with the Daytona Beach campus in their commencement ceremony. Mr. President, the faculty of the Extended Campus is pleased to present the candidates for graduate degrees. Assisting in recognizing these graduates will be Dr. William Getter, Dean of Academics for the College of Career Education, and the master's candidates will be hooded by Associate Dean Karen Shehai and Professor William March.
Candidates for the degree of Master of Aeronautical Science. Jonathan Akim. Dallas Scott Brooks, with distinction. Kevin Michael Chekerski, East Bay, California. Thomas Edward Cooper. Tracy Scott Day, Jacksonville, NAS, Florida. James Anthony Dvorak, with distinction, Jacksonville, NAS, Florida. Daniel Raymond Gensch, Jacksonville, NAS, Florida. Patricia Ann Hicks, Norfolk, NAS, Virginia. Eugene Ellsworth Jiggets Jr. with distinction, Travis Air Force Base, California. Gregory Michael McCabe, Cincinnati, Ohio. Stephen Kyle Sheely with distinction, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Sandra F. Stone, Memphis, Tennessee. Candidates for the degree of Master of Business Administration in Aviation: Nicholas George Barillas, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Janice Elizabeth McGann Bridgham, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Sherry Christmas Creed, Memphis, Tennessee. Mark Croce Denton with distinction, Edwards Air Force Base, California. Charlton Clark English, Colorado Springs, Colorado. Michael James Friel with distinction, Memphis, Tennessee. Leslie Lee Hall Jr., Edwards Air Force Base, California. Brian Edward Patnett, Fort Knox, Kentucky. William H. Pickren with distinction, Memphis, Tennessee. Janet Martin Quinn with distinction, Memphis, Tennessee. Robert Walter Schmitz with distinction, Jacksonville, NAS, Florida. Ray Elmer Stanton, Fort Worth, Texas. Yong Zhu with distinction, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Candidates for the degrees of Master of Science in Technical Management: Jeffrey L. Barch with distinction, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Daniel E. Case with distinction, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. William Allen Chambers, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. William Russell Donaldson, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Anthony Joseph Donato, Jr. with distinction, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Patrick Joseph Fallon, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. James Gallagher, with distinction, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Charles A. Joffrey, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Wayne John Gordon, with distinction, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. William John Gatuduro, with distinction, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Sandra Lee Henry, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. You go down! Arthur Lawrence Hollows, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Michael Duran Mills, with distinction, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. James Christopher Moran, with distinction, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Alan Patrick Oliver, with distinction, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. William Walter Petrashevich, with distinction, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Robert Michael Scordino, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. Robert Foley Smith III, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Clifford C. Wharton, Patrick Air Force Base, Florida.
At this time, the faculty of the Daytona Beach campus is pleased to present the candidates for undergraduate degrees. The department chairs for each of the degree programs will present the diplomas.
Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Aeronautical Science. Professor Michael Wiggins will present the diplomas. Amir Ferris Abiganim. Jonathan Joseph Allison. Russell Shane Blackwell, Senior Class Counsel. Milos W. Bakai. Stephen Casey Briscoe, Alpha Omicron Delta. Jeremy Samuel Bullers. Colina M. Kane. Anthony James Caruncio, cum laude. Donald Peter Charlebois. Andrew Frederick Chisholm. Hun Chi. Alan Robert Clay, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Air Force, cum laude, Omicron Delta Kappa. Daniel Cohen. Kendall Allen Coleman. Carlos Coloma. Joel A. Colon. Anthony Mark Costello, cum laude, Omicron Delta Kappa, Society for Collegiate Journalists, Who's Who, 1979, 1997, 98. David Joseph Crockett. John Francis Cullen. Paul B. Cunningham. Christopher Ted Serwinski, magna cum laude. Robert Michael Davis. Heather Marie Derringer. Alan Michael Vesperman. Michael Richard Foyle. David Marco Gallo. Patrick Davis Gannon. Brian Giorgente, magna cum laude. Aaron John Goodwin. Scott Louis Brzezinski. Byron James Harris. John Malloy Eubanks. Edward Blair John, Senior Class Counsel. Matthew Caleb Johnson. Alan Christian Juvan. Gregory Lee Kappan, magna cum laude, Omicron Delta Kappa. Errol Brian Kareem, magna cum laude. Michael Kirar, cum laude. John Andrew Craigler. Peter Michael Andrew Kronstein, cum laude. Megan Kathleen Kruger, magna cum laude. Andrea LaBarbera. Christopher Eric Lamb, magna cum laude. Christopher E. Lane, magna cum laude. Keith Andrew Landman. Kenneth Mark Lapidis, magna cum laude. Christina Maria Latore. Thomas J. Leary. Ho Jun Lee. Sungjin Lee. Darren Lesky, magna cum laude. Brad Joshua Levine. Kenneth O. Lewis III. Jeremy Paul Lipka. David S. Liu. Cindy Ann Lo Cicero, Senior Class Counsel. Louis Manuel Loro, Senior Class Counsel. Lisa Marie Luxon. Robert P. Lucinacek. Kyriakos Georgios Magoulas. Abel Nathaniel Marowitz. Heath Henry Marston. Darren Thomas McBride. Gregory Jason McCullum. George Fabian McCullough. Jason Renald McKiernan, cum laude. Robert T. McNamara, 2nd Lieutenant, U.S. Army, who's who, 1998-99. Brandon S. Miller. Edward Lancelot Miller. Kelly Lena Moffett. Anthony John Monjove, Senior Class Counsel. Jeffrey Carlton Mueller, magna cum laude, Omicron Delta Kappa. Andrew Timothy Myers, cum laude. Barbara Ann Newman. Eleanor Dawn Nicholson. Takahiro Okusako. Anthony B. Paziolas. Nicholas Michael Petronas. Seth David Penzel. Juden Pierre Jr., cum laude. Danielle Pineri, cum laude, Treasurer, Senior Class Council. Charlie Wesley Pruitt, Jr. Eric James Anthony Rouse, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Army, Omicron Delta Kappa, Order of Omega, Senior Class Council, Who's Who, 9899. Maurice Albert Rendon. Michael James Rao. Aaron Charles Rusich, Senior Class Council. Richard Curtis Scraggs, Omicron Delta Kappa. Roberta Porco, Senior Class Council. Arjindar Singh, cum laude. Christopher Mark Sakrani. Stephen Edward Smith, Jr. Daniel Anthony Tarashevsky. Jolene E. Tardif. Janiri Enriqueta Tharnkar. Sasha Treadway. Damon Glenn Tremmel. Penn H. Sue, magna cum laude. David J. Underwood, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Army, Senior Class Council. Andrea Nicole Vera. Brian Richard Vincenti. Tommy Lee Watkins, Jr. James R. Whitaker. Christopher Brian Wiggin, magna cum laude. Jason Williams. George D. Willis. John Kevin Winslow. Andrew William Wood. Dana Marie Wright, Senior Class Council. Seung-Hun Yu. Philip Anthony Zamaripa. David Henrik Zweggers. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Professional Aeronautics. Kathleen Barr. John Richard Brown. Jeffrey Allen Burdett, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Air Force. Eric W. Collins. Ibrahim M. El-Bahiti. Morgan H. Jekyll. Richard Allen Kemp. Jean-Claude Couillot. Ian Francis Meinert. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering. Professor Alan Hermsley will present the diplomas. Eduardo Douglas Aguilar, Second Lieutenant, United States Air Force. Hassan M. Al-Asaf, Senior Class Council. Renee Alberto Ariaza. Gregory John Bowles. Giovanni Canavero. Tremaine Hugh Days. Uxmal Diaz. Michael David Dunkel. Enrique Flores. Bruno Victor Gavazzi, Sigma Gamma Tau. Leslie Scott Haynes. Rihanna Ifland, Senior Class Council. Ryan Alexander LeBeau, Senior Class Council. Denny Allison Leidig. Mauricio David Lopez. James Hewitt McClellan. Rachel E. Miller, 2nd Lieutenant U.S. Army, Sigma Gamma Tau. Juan Pablo Nunez. Carolyn Oshetsky, Sigma Gamma Tau. Lynn Michael Rao. Adrian Martin Robinson. Olivia de la Caridad Roca, Senior Class Council. Carolyn Schlatt, Senior Class Council. Christian Yuri Stevenson. David Torres Garin Collins. Karen Louise Weigel, Senior Class Council, Sigma Gamma Tau. Leslie M. Welch, cum laude, Sigma Gamma Tau. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. David Richard Bujak. Scott Paul King. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Studies. Professor Robert Oxley will present the diplomas. Kaya Elise Adams, magna cum laude. Andrew David Bunch. Jamie Elizabeth Clay, 2nd Lieutenant U.S. Air Force. Michael Moscow Fitterman. Janice Andrea Fry, Senior Class Council. Jacqueline Ruth Gilbert, cum laude. Benjamin Stacy Goss. Joseph Dennis Graham. Tanya Danielle K, Omicron Delta Kappa. Sangu Kim. Sangmoon Kim. Jeffrey Lauren Kisby, cum laude, Omicron Delta Kappa. Jeff Allen Klein. Hermie Frederick Luchmaya. Olafile Bawiki McCoffey. Kelly Rivera Nietzsche. Shaylin Patel. Justo Tito Rosario. James Edward Ross. Scotty Ann Slater. Katrina Lynn Thompson. Matthew B. Wild. Christopher A. Zobe. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Applied Experimental Psychology. Professor Daniel Garland will present the diplomas. Benjamin M. Blossom, magna cum laude. David L. Mayo. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Aviation Business Administration. Professor Abe Paraf will present the diplomas. Kwame Awosu Afriye. Carl Robin Ayala. Salim I. Alzaruni. Andrew Amaziz Andras, cum laude, Delta Mu Delta. Juan Araujo Bradley. Christopher Patrick Bartos, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Army. Leroy Anthony Burrows. Hugh A. Camacho. Keith Allen Kumsia. Stuart Alexander Craig, magna cum laude. Melinda Diane Dalton. Patrick Joseph Donovan. Suzanne M. Doucette. Laura Imelda Flores, Omicron Delta Kappa, Who's Who 1998. James Alex Garrett III, Senior Class Counsel. Jennifer Lauren Geiger. Peter Ferguson Jean, magna cum laude, Who's Who 1997-98, Delta Mu Delta. Kimberlyn L. Jennings. Lena Maria Jimenez Alvarez. Hector Gerald Lowe. Ivan Alexander Lopez. Nicole Marie Mayer. Alexander Morig, magna cum laude, Delta Mu Delta. Luis Nesmith. Rosie Pabst. Jinwoo Park. Nelson J. Panagos. Basit Kayet. Brian Wilhut Smith. Michelle Marie Sterkula. Nestor Geraldo Toro Rivera. Christopher Adrian Venn. Todd Robert Wadley, Delta Mu Delta. Justin Richard Hampton. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Aviation Maintenance Management. Antonio Acaron. Young Hwang Do. Craig Anthony King. Christopher Matthew Woodham, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Air Force. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Management of Technical Operations. Amir Alam, Delta Mu Delta. Russell Henry Aluri. Gary Robert Charlton. Desiree Nombei Guidubo. Paul Edward Marshall. Heather Ann McEachin. Scott Lewis Pfeiffer. Kevin Francis Wisniewski, Senior Class Counsel Fundraising Chair. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Aviation Computer Science, Professor Thomas Hilberg will present the diplomas. Anthony Angelo Civarello, summa cum laude, Upsilon Pi Epsilon. Allison Denise Yuan. Jesse Y. Garcia. J. Marshall Hanson, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Air Force. Tariq Hassan. Robert William Johnson, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Air Force, President, Senior Class Council. Kimberly Ann Nicodemus. Richard Aaron Rickert, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Air Force, cum laude. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. John Daniel Usimi, Secretary, Senior Class Council, Upsilon Pi Epsilon. Philip Chiweshi. Seungwon Kim. John Michael Link, summa cum laude, Vice President, Senior Class Council, Upsilon Pi Epsilon. Stefan D. Sukraj, Upsilon Pi Epsilon. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Aircraft Engineering Technology. Professor Peter Pierpont will present the diplomas. Fad Al-Ahmahmoud, cum laude, Tau Epsilon Pi. Mahmoud Ali Mahmoud Baka. Mohammed Ali Ibrahim. Janine Renee Robinson. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Aviation Technology. Robert Daniel Aliagra. Chung Hoon An. John Thomas Bliss. Juan Janae DeVivo. Chana Sanaka Erdsinher. Jonathan Carl Garvey. Joko Hariputra. Laura Hudson Izard. Lee Enos Ian Johnson. Ji-Hong Kim. William Frederick Lawrence. Michael Stephen Ledrick, cum laude. Clayton Andre Miller. William Thomas Raymond. Omeo Serge Russo. Perry Howard Woods. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Avionics Engineering Technology. Mohammed Rihad Barbuk. Amir Ahmad El Gayar. Mohammed Mustafa Ibrahim. Ahmed Ismail Musa. Joe Sejo. Fitz G. Walker III. Candidates for the degree of Associate in Science and Avionics Technology. Robert James Long. Candidate for the degree of Associate in Science and Aircraft Maintenance. Ki-Chan Kim. Candidates for the degree of Associate in Aviation Maintenance Technology. Jeffrey Lee Reese. Candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Engineering Physics. Professor John Olivero will present the diplomas. Sylvia Marie Gerdes, Senior Class Council. Marjorie V. Quant, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Air Force, Senior Class Counsel. Eric David Smith. This concludes the candidates for the undergraduate degrees from the Daytona Beach campus.